Chris. This is Renee Corbett here, and I have the privilege tonight of being on this webinar with all of you guys with Chris. And I just want to thank you for all joining us tonight. This wonderful, you know, it's the invasion at the zoo, penguins, pandas. I'm just hoping it's not piranhas next from Google. So we all have lots of questions, and I'm really, really grateful that Chris is doing this tonight. So hopefully he can, and I know he will, give us some reassure us maybe a little, and then give us some good advice what we need to be doing with all the penguins in our life. We are really lucky to have Chris. He knows a lot about a lot of things when it comes to internet marketing, and I think you're really going to enjoy tonight's webinar a lot. Before we get going, though, I just want to tell you we are taking questions. So as we go through this presentation tonight, please feel free to type your questions in the question box. I will be sitting here watching them and giving those to Chris. So you know, we just want to make sure we get them in the right place. We'll get your questions answered, but feel free to do that. So without further ado, I give you the almighty, all-knowing Chris.
The almighty, hey, that's great. Hey, thanks a lot, Renee.
Set the bar high.
So I wanted to welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. If you don't know me, I'm Chris Goulart. You guys probably get my emails. We run SEO Tacklebox, my wife and I. You know, so today we're putting on a webinar. Bear with me. This is the first webinar that I'm giving. So hopefully it goes smooth. But it's important, and we're going to give you some important information that should be able to help you out. So tonight's webinar is about the Penguin update. If you've not heard about it, you know, maybe you've been living under a rock, but it's been a pretty big update. And there's a lot of websites that have been hit by it. It's Google specific. It's not related to Yahoo, not related to Bing, 100% Google specific, and it's different than the past updates. You know, this one's basically trying to stamp out the web spam, and it's trying to stamp out you know, various types of links. And how they're going to do that, well, they're not really telling us exactly. So all we can do is kind of infer what you know, what we can learn from what we're seeing. Okay. So first off is we need to look at oh, here we go. Okay, important dates. You know, there's actually 2 updates rolled out within a week of each other. April 19th was the new Panda update, and that targets content-related issues. That's much different than this Penguin update. You know, so if you look back at your analytic account and see a drop-off in rankings, drop-off in traffic, that happened around April 19th. It's more likely that you got hit with the new Panda update than the Penguin update. April 24th is about when they rolled out the Penguin update, and that's the basis for this webinar. But that's the one that targets the web spam and the linking. It doesn't target content-related issues. You know, so looking at your analytics, if your sites started losing traffic, losing rankings April 24th, April 25th, it's more likely that you got hit with this Penguin update. So it's really important to know where your issues are so you can address them. Because if you think you have linking issues and you go address your linking issues and start removing links right and left, and you find out later, hey, that wasn't the issue, you know, that's basically just not a good thing. Okay, so basically we're looking at this Penguin update analysis. First off, we're going to look at these sites being penalized. Okay, and what we did, we run and manage probably about 200 sites. Some of our sites got hit, some of them did not. Some of them gained in their rankings. So we've got, you know, we've got a bunch of different sites to look at. We've been doing other research on the web and looking at what other people have to say. But long story short is, it's easier to see from the sites that we know what type of promotion we've done and what type of rankings they had, and look internally and see, hey, here's what we can say has actually happened to our sites, as opposed to looking at what other people are saying, because you never know where, you know, people are getting their data. So everything that we're presenting tonight is based on our analysis of sites that we run, sites that we manage, and sites that we're real familiar with. We know where they've been ranking. We know the type of traffic they've been getting. We know the other players that have been ranking well in those little niches as well. Okay, so the sites being penalized share some of the same characteristics. It seems that a high percentage of links come from low-quality, unrelated sites. You know, and these, you know, it could be any type of sites. You know, if you've got a, say you've got a football site and you've got links coming in from escort sites, those are definitely unrelated sites. You know, in addition, a low percentage of the links had URL variations as the anchor text, less than 5%. That was the cutoff for us. All of the sites that we had that performed better after the update had a minimum of 5% of their links coming in with some type of URL variation. So a URL variation might be http mysite.com, www.mysite.com, mysite.com, mysite would be URL variations. And again, that 5% threshold, not every site that had less than 5% got hit, but the sites that really gained, the sites that did well after this, that substantially improved their rankings and their traffic, had at least 5% of their incoming links with some kind of URL variation. Okay, other sites being penalized had more than 90% of all links pointing to the index page. So that's almost all of the links, and a lot of the sites that got penalized had even more than that. You know, the high 90%. Okay, and finally we noticed a high link volume relative to site traffic. You know, sites that were getting, you know, 20, 30, 40 visitors a day but had tens of thousands of links seemed to get dinged more than sites that had links that were, you know, somewhat relative to their traffic. You know, we had some really competitive terms do really well ranking with, you know, 300 links. We also did have some sites that did really well ranking with, you know, tens of thousands of links. But the spin of it is more is not going to be better moving forward. Okay, so those are the sites being penalized. The sites that gained, and this is what we want to pay attention to, because this is where you want your site to be. You want your site to fit what's on this page here. You want your site to gain. It's going to be a long-term winning situation for you to be in Google's good graces here, because this Penguin update's not going to go away. They're only going to expand on it. So it's important to take notice of what they're doing right now. Again, we're going to come back to this URL variation in the anchor text. They had a minimum of 5% of their incoming links with that URL variation. And, you know, out of all the characteristics that we've seen and all the indicators that we've seen, this has been the biggest one. You know, the sites that have URL variations, you know, 5 to 10% seem to do pretty well. You know, and depending on who you read on the internet and other places you look, there's a lot of people that want to tie in, you know, your percentage of keywords, your percentage of money keywords, stuff of that nature. From our research, you know, that didn't really seem to matter. You know, if we had a site that had all money keywords pointing in, but had this URL variation, you know, over the 5% mark, a lot of those sites ended up doing much better after the algorithm update. Okay, the sites that gained, they didn't necessarily have, excuse me, a high volume of links, but they did have highly related links. You know, so links from sites in the same niche that are very highly related. You know, and this is not, you know, this is a little less objective and more subjective, because we didn't run numbers on the percentages here, and we didn't qualify, you know, that, you know, we didn't put a number on how we qualified a highly related link, but in looking through it, a high percentage of these sites had a high volume of highly related links, or a high percentage of highly related links. Sites that gained, less than 90% of all the links pointing to the main index page. They seem to have a good variation where you had multiple internal pages, you know, getting 5% or more of the total incoming links to the site. So the sites that are doing well, they're not just linking to the main page, they're linking to the internal pages. And if you go back to what Google's trying to do, they're trying to just take the natural links as indicators in their search algorithm. And if you think about it, sites that are getting links that are good quality sites, you know, they're most likely not going to get links only to their home page. So this is a good indicator to be aware of, because you know, there's a lot of people that will only build links to your main page, and you can't do that. And back to our last one here again, 5% or more of the total incoming site links going to multiple internal pages. And this was the profile that fit all the sites of ours that really gained, that did well in search.